welcome back to Pandemic Cooking. My name is Adele, or Miss Telmaschuk. This video is for my grade 10s today. We are going to be doing the cake method, which is part of the essential learning outcomes in our contemporary baking unit. So the cake method is a way of mixing things. So if you take a look at the ingredients here, it's very simple. I mean, I could be making a choux pastry with this, I could be doing a whole bunch of different things, but the way I'm going to be manipulating these ingredients is going to give us a beautiful vanilla butter cake. So I'm gonna add 1 cup of butter to my mixer fitted with the paddle attachment. Now, we're gonna spend a lot of time creaming the butter with the sugar. So we're going to have to do some stops and starts because we are going to be mixing this for approximately 5 minutes. I've heard lots of different theories about you can use a whisk attachment, to be honest with you, or you could use a different fat. To be honest with you, to get the best results for a butter cake is to use butter and to spend the time creaming it. The butter is at room temperature, which kind of feels almost hard to believe. It's still quite hard. And I'm gonna throw that mixer on high and get that butter going. I wanna see it lighten in color, okay? So we'll touch back in a minute when I'm there, okay? We've got our butter whipped. We've whipped it for about 5 minutes. It's nice and soft. It's a little bit lighter in color, but now what we're going to do is we're going to add the sugar. I've got 1 2/3 cup of sugar. This was 1 cup or half a pound of butter. I'm going to hit it all at once into the mixer. I'm going to do my slow pulse thing that hopefully you've been paying attention, you have been learning, so nothing goes flying. I'm going to start slow, but eventually I'm going to get the mixer up to almost a high speed and give it another 5 minutes before I add the eggs. So we'll touch back in 5 minutes. See you then. Okay, so I just stopped the mixer to give it a scrape down, and I just want to show you how I know that we're not there yet. When I'm scraping, it's still holding quite a bit of shape when I scrape the butter, so I know that this needs to be quite a bit softer than this. So I'm going to, it's been mixing for about 2 minutes, give it a scrape, hit it again, we need it softer. My butter and sugar is creamed to a point that I like it. It's looking nice and fluffy. It's lightened up a little bit in color. And now we're going to continue creaming and mixing with the eggs. So I'm going to crack in 1 egg at a time. Good thing the mixer wasn't on. Because it happens. I'm gonna blast it with the mixer, kind of like I did with the choux pastry. If you haven't watched that video, you should probably check it out. So just go ahead and click on the channel and you can check out that video too. So once that egg is fully mixed in, I'm gonna crack in the next egg. Third egg, so we're doing 4 eggs in this cake. So for a 2 pans, I'm doing 4 eggs. It's looking so good, everyone, just in case you were wondering. Okay, so now we're getting nice and fluffy. I'm gonna turn the mixer down, add that last egg in. I'm gonna pause for a hot second. I'm going to scrape down the sides because we've got quite a bit of buildup of fat and sugar on the edges of the bowl. Make sure I get to the bottom there. If you're using a hand mixer, AKA a Mixie Mattel, then you can, I find it's a lot easier to scrape down while you're going because you can really manipulate the mixer. Remember that one time I couldn't get the thing off because I didn't put the mixer down? Really incorporate, make sure that there's no chunks of butter left in this. Otherwise that butter is gonna if you have any chunks of fat in your recipe or in your batter, those chunks of fat are going to prevent that area from rising. So if we're gonna have any like sinking of the cake or anything. You want to make sure that there's no fat chunks. It's all incorporated really, really nicely. While that's going, I'm gonna add, the recipe calls for 1 teaspoon of vanilla, but I'm a girl who likes my vanilla, so I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons, 2. If you wanted to do like a coconut cream cake or something like that, you could go ahead and add a teaspoon of coconut extract along with a bit of vanilla to really enhance that flavor. If you wanted to do like an almond, like dusted almonds or something like that on top, you can use an almond extract. I also find that almond extract is really, really great if you are making something cherry flavored. So if you wanted to do like a cherry jam as the filling, then a little hint of almond extract would be good. But remember, it is quite an intense flavor, so make sure you're not gonna add nearly as much as you would vanilla. I'm gonna give it one more blast, and then it's time to like really get down with that cake method. Okay, so grade 10s, really important that you're watching this video and you're like, yes, I know the cake method. I want it to be a little bit lighter in color, so I'm just gonna give it another minute. For about 10 minutes. And what me and Ms. Ostrovich are talking about here is that what's really kind of interesting and cool about this opportunity about you cooking at home is that you can really give it the time that you need it to have a great product. Because I know in foods it's like cakes in the oven, go, 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 where you probably wouldn't have the time to get this mixed for 10 minutes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have 3 cups of flour here. I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now, if you've watched my cookie videos, you know that usually I just hit the mixer with like the dry ingredients. I am going to take a minute to whisk them in today. So I spent 10 minutes creaming the butter, sugar, and eggs and vanilla, and now the mixing is going to really tone back. If we're over mixing, we're gonna end up with peaked cakes with tunnels through them. Okay, taste is gonna be fine, but if we're talking about quality standards, then this is what we're looking for. So in this container, I know it looks a little gross. This is our homemade buttermilk. So I use milk powder, water, and vinegar. So if you have milk at home and you're not using milk powder, it's not gonna separate like this. But we just don't worry about it. What's really important about using a buttermilk is you're getting that acid to really, to really invigorate the baking soda to give a nice, fluffy, soft cake. Okay?
What else can you use to make buttermilk?
Sour cream? What?
Or what?
Lemon, any acid. You could use lemon juice. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I usually use the vinegar, but you could use the lemon juice if you wanted. I usually just hit it with the vinegar. So I've got 1 1/4 cups of milk here. So this is what the cake method is. The cake method is 5 additions of stirring. So I'm gonna do 3 additions of the dry, 2 additions of the wet, okay? And I'm gonna alternatingly add them. So I'm going to pop this down. I'm gonna add approximately 1/3 of the flour mixture. Incorporate that. I'm gonna add 1/2 of the milk mixture. Let that mix. Another 1/3 of the flour. The milk mixture, and then the final addition of the flour mixture. Sorry everyone, I've got it on a low speed. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna scrape down. Make sure I'm lifting from the bottom. I only want to do 1 scrape because I really don't want to overmix this. And then my last scrape hopefully is going to be scraping it out of the bowl. over mix, because then we're gonna have those problems that I was just talking about. Okay, scrape off the beater. Can lick that later, I'll leave that there. All right, so if you move over to my pans, I've got two 9-inch springform pans greased and lined with parchment paper. I have abandoned the flour over the years, just because I find if you do a proper parchment on the bottom, spray the sides, you should be fine. Now, I can't tell you, this is probably one of the most difficult recipes that we do and has the most failure in my classes. And I'm still trying to figure it out, but what I have decided is that so many students open the oven before they're supposed to. So even if the recipe says 30 minutes and they whip open the oven at 25, we could potentially have a ruined cake on our hands. I don't want to sound dramatic here, but that's right? Like it can happen like that. I'm a little bit worried that that's not super incorporated. Do you see that, Ms. N? I should have done a better, I thought I really did a great job scraping. Okay, I'm gonna gently just push it to the sides. I am gonna give them, I'm gonna take them off this cooling rack here. Give them a little bang on the stove. Did you see that? It just hit me. I just got some batter on the eye. Yeah. We're winning. We're winning at life today. Give that a little zhuzh. Okay, these are gonna go into the oven for 30 minutes. I'm gonna set the oven for 30 minutes. At that point, we're gonna come back and I'm gonna show you how I test that they're done before I even open the oven. Okay, see you in a half hour. Okay everyone, welcome back. I'm just gonna check on the cakes. They've been in for about 32 minutes. Before I open the oven, I want you to come over here and I want you to take a look. So turn your light onto the oven, and if you can see the cakes in there, I know it's hard to see, you can just see me squatting down. What else can you see? Okay, the reflection. Do I need to move? Okay, you're gonna do your best. You're gonna look, you're gonna give the oven a little quick tap, and I'm gonna look at the top of the cakes. If they're still jiggly, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna set the timer for 5 more minutes. I know that you could just see me squatting, sorry. I didn't see any jiggling, so I'm gonna go ahead and open the oven. Nope, still jiggly. They're probably ruined now, so. Hi, so I gave them another 10 minutes, and I wanna tell you where I really should have done better on this recipe. So come on over, take a look. You can see, now that I've opened the oven, they've got a little sink in them. I'm just gonna like chalk it up to, you know, I don't know, it's just how every cake I bake turns out. You know what though, I was watching a video and with this lady who has this bakery in London, and they just cut it off. So I'm not gonna be hard on myself, even though I've baked a billion cakes. I do find in my experience, I have way more trouble with a vanilla cake than I do a chocolate cake. One thing I should have done is put the rack down one more. I contemplated it. I looked in the oven and the rack is on, there's 5 racks, it's on the 3rd. I should have had it one down, and I thought about it and then I should have done it. But anyway, these are our cakes. The next video we're gonna do is we're gonna teach you how to do a crumb coat and then ice them. So that's gonna be a grade 11 task. So there's your cake method. The batter was delicious, so I'm hoping for a great cake. We'll see you in the icing video. Bye.